We'll begin. I want to wish you all a welcome to the 2013 Community Awards for the Action for Beauty Council. Thank you all for being here. We do honor superior design and high quality development throughout our city. We've been doing this for around 40 years that I know of. I've been involved the last 32 of those, and I was about 30 years old, I think, when we got started, and in my mind, I still am. I would like to acknowledge some dignitaries that we have out here today. Mayor Cindy Silva. And in as much as I have about 10 others, we can hold our applause until we're all done. Yeah, you got a special round of applause. Okay. And Council Member Llewellyn Haskew is here. Former mayors Charlie Abrams, Kathy Hicks, Sue Rainey. You're not going to stand up? There, all right. I said stand up. No. And Gwen Regalia. There we go. Where's Bob Simmons? There you are. Okay, I'm sorry, Bob. And from the East Bay Regional Park District, Beverly Lane. There you are. Hi, Beverly. You come every year. We love to see you. Thank you. And now I'd like to have our city manager, Ken Nordoff, stand. And Ken, do you mind pointing out some of your staff members who are with us today, too?
Sure, we want to do that. At my table, our Arts Recreation and Community Services Director, Larry Gordon. And up on the landing, we have Heather Ballinger, our Public Services Director. Mike Vickers, who's our manager overseeing parks and open space. And Scott Harriman, our principal planner in community development. I don't think I missed anybody else, unless you want to sign up today and become part of the staff.
Thanks, Ken. Thank you all very much, and now we can get into the And I want to start by giving some special acknowledgments to our sponsors and businesses that have helped make today's function possible. Regional Parking, Mr. Bob Power, Walnut Creek Magazine, Pam Kessler, Kumlick and Associates, John Kumlick, and Cheap Pete's Frame and Factory Outlet. In addition, we want to acknowledge Matt Bollender and Walnut Creek TV, who will be filming today's event. And I believe Matt told me it will be available next week on YouTube. Matt, is that correct? Right on. Okay. This year, our jury is basically comprised of the same folks with the exception of a new addition. We have returning Scott Coates, architect of Meeks, Coates and Eaton in San Francisco. Our own Joseph Gorney, architect in Walnut Creek, California. Bill Wood of William Wood Architects in Danville is returned. And a new addition, Ms. Marilyn Weiss from the Design Review Commission joined us this year. So I want to thank all our jury members as and in addition to Marilyn Weiss and myself, on the Action for Beauty Committee jury, we have 5 other members who are responsible for assembling this function. That would be Janet Abrams, Pam Kessler, Brian Murphy, our former Mayor Sue Rainey, and Mayor Cindy Silva. So thank you all for all your help with this. Since times are good, they no longer have to have me be your master of ceremonies. We can afford to bring in somebody who knows how to do this thing. And this year, as a special master of ceremonies, it's my pleasure to introduce to you Tom Barnage. And as many of you know, Tom is a columnist for the Bay Area News Group, including the Contra Costa Times. Tom's been a journalist for more than 35 years, since beginning his career as a sports writer and columnist for the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. Before coming to Contra Costa Times as a sports editor in 2004, Tom was managing editor of the National Football League's publishing division. Tom left sports journalism 5 years ago to become a Metro columnist for the paper, for our newspaper. His commentary on local and regional current events appears 3 times a week. He's written as topics as diverse as law enforcement, education, animal control, and my favorite, Judgment Day. I'd like to hear more about Judgment Day. Tom brings a good sense of wit to his writing. One of the most memorable columns was about the battle that we had in town over the Neiman Marcus in Walnut Creek, and he aptly described it as the Wile E. Coyote versus Roadrunner project. So please join me in welcoming Tom Barnage.
Thank you, Terry. I'm delighted to be here today, and I'm especially glad to see in the audience there's no one I've recently criticized. You know, I hesitate to admit this, but I was initially confused about my role today. When Mayor Silva contacted me and she said that she wanted to invite me to the Action for Beauty Awards, I thought I was going to be honored for recently having trimmed my hedges that were hanging into the street. I became a fan of Walnut Creek from the moment I saw it, and that was almost 10 years ago. I arrived here in March of 2004. I had been invited up by the Contra Costa Times to interview for the position of sports editor. This is back before newspapers were obsolete. And one of the things that struck me as I came down Highway 24 and made the 680 interchange was this lovely town sitting in the valley beneath me and the mountain in the distance. I fell in love with the tree-lined streets, the bubbling sidewalks, the great stores and shops, and what I was particularly impressed by was the lush green open space that enveloped the community. And I thought, what a terrific place. So after I accepted the job, it was about a month later now, it was towards the end of April, I came back from my first day of work, drove the same route, came down 24 to 680, went up Ignacio Valley Drive, and the green, luscious open space was brown. And I thought, now this is a community with a flair for design. They change the color of their hills every month. I think a lot of times we take for granted the many things that we have here in Walnut Creek, and I'm talking not just about the resources and the parks, but the architecture, the designs. One that comes to mind for me is the Leisure Center. I take it for granted. I mean, it's a great place to go see stage shows, but it's also a really striking piece of architecture with the spiral staircase and the glass walls and the opportunity to look out on the city. I think the library probably falls in the same category. I mean, it's a beautiful building from the outside, but even more striking is the artwork that is available on display inside. And I remember the first thing that struck me when I went to the library was that huge 26-foot piece of artwork as you walk in the front door. Well, maybe that wasn't the first thing that struck me. The first thing that struck me was that I had to pay to park at the library, but then I thought, well, Walnut Creek. I'm also a big fan of water features, and there's a lot of water features in Walnut Creek, as you well know. One of my personal favorites is the Veterans Memorial water feature. In fact, walking past that on a Tuesday night, I think really is the best part of going to a city council meeting. No offense. And I'm sure you're also very well aware of the drowning head statue in front of the Mechanics Bank. The poor guy is up to his nose in it. My own interpretation, I presume that this was inspired by all of the underwater mortgages in the East Bay. And you can call me crazy if you want to, but I'm also a fan of Neiman Marcus store. Why, the last time I went shopping there with my wife, I can recall telling her, I said, put the credit cards back in the purse, let's go outside and enjoy the fine lines of this building. $300 or $400 later, we did. You came here to present some awards. I think now is the time. Presenting the first award, the special judge's recognition is Terry Camp.
Great. This is an interesting category because in the past, for the judge's special recognition, we've had a Civic Pride Award and acknowledged certain communities, Parkmead, Rossmore, things like that. This year, we thought it most appropriate to honor one of our own citizens, thus making it the largest draw of nominees in Walnut Creek history. We had 65,695 nominees for this particular award. Here's what Jay Hoyer had to say about this gentleman. Jay's the president of the Chamber of Commerce. He invests a part of himself in each project he creates, taking pride of ownership to a new level. Now, I cleaned that up a little bit, Jay, from what you really told me, but I want to talk about a great man who will humbly deny his stature in the community, a Walnut Creek resident, a graduate of Northgate High School, graduate of USC. Please welcome Brian Harahara. Now, while Brian's coming up, I got to tell you, if you walk around town, you'll see him strolling around his properties, watering flowers, picking up. He's not the Japanese gardener. Brian, thank you very much. Get this. Well, or maybe you can.
I can walk around.
Okay, there you go.
Thank you very much. I'm kind of shocked. I didn't know I was going to be standing up here for this. Love our downtown. I grew up here, as Terry mentioned, and office here, and develop here, and just feel really fortunate. Great community, great downtown, and just to be able to do some projects that give back. And I quote Joseph Gorney from a Design Review Commission hearing 12 years ago for the Corners. He said, "Your project needs to give back to the street." And I love that term and try to make it part of the projects that we do here. So I'm just real honored. Thank you.
Thank you, Brian.
I spoke earlier of the open spaces, which I have really enjoyed since I've lived here. Great place to hike, great place just to be out in the open, and then nobody's more closely associated with that than Peg Kovar. We're now going to hand out the Peg Kovar Poppy Award, and doing that will be Brian Murphy and Gwen Regalia.
Pardon? You be first.
Thank you.
You're used to microphones.
Yeah. Can you hear? Okay. It's very appropriate to name this Poppy Award for Peg Kovar. Just a very brief background. Peg was the first and founding president of Save Mount Diablo. And among other things, worked tirelessly in many areas of the community. In 1972, she ran for city council and was elected as the first woman in 40 years, we thought it was ever, but in 40 years, and the first woman mayor of Walnut Creek. Among her platform that she ran on was creating a design review commission, also doing something about the flashing neon signs that were becoming very prevalent. She didn't want it to look like Las Vegas. And she also was very interested in parks, open space, etc. She served on the Open Space Committee that in 1974 passed a bond issue to buy the first 1,800 acres of open space in this community. During her time on the council, oh, I forgot to say, when we looked at what sort of a theme should she have as running for the council, we came up with poppies. So that's why the Poppy Award, I believe, is named for her. And for years, when you drove along Ignacio Valley Road in the spring, along the hillside there before you get to the golf course, it's full of poppies. That was left over from our campaign. And so she went out one day and tossed them out on the hillsides. I think that crop has more or less gone away, so maybe it's time to do it again. So I just wanted to bring to your attention that she was one of the premier people here in Walnut Creek who helped to make this city what it is today. looking at design, looking at transportation, looking at employment, and looking at housing, all the things that we think go into modern Walnut Creek today. So I think it's very appropriate that this honor is named for her.
The Walnut Creek Action for Beauty Council likes to recognize volunteers and the hard work they do in the community. And we have a number of less visible groups of people that contribute a lot to make our community a better place. One of the nominees is the California Bluebird Recovery Program, which is a group of volunteers that monitors bluebird box nests in our open space, in open areas, so that we have bluebirds nesting and large population of bluebirds in our open space thanks to their work. The Civic Park Creek Walk is another nominee, and that was a very large collaborative project to come up with an example of how businesses with creekfront property can incorporate the creek as an amenity rather than put up a fence to hide it. Our garden out at the Shadelands is an incredible group of people, a bunch of gardeners, and I was very surprised to find that our former mayor, Bob Simmons, was a master gardener. I've known him for a long time, and he always kept that kind of hid, never said a word about it. But the Master Garden program at Shadelands is an incredible group of volunteers that gardening and then ultimately producing food. Walnut Creek Bike Maps was another nomination. The city of Walnut Creek put together a very elaborate and very accurate bicycle map, so people coming to Walnut Creek, and as well as residents like me, can figure out where all of our bicycle trails are. The winner of the Peg Kovar Poppy Award is Civic Park Creek Walk, and it's not really fair comparing this project with all of the other projects because of all of the people that were involved in creating the Creek Walk. As I think city engineer Steve Waymeyer was handed a bottle of aspirin and going, okay, Steve, your job is to put together an example for other creek owners along the creeks to look at as an example of how we can incorporate that into the landscape. And Steve had to get together with an endless list of stakeholders and kind of herd cats together to come up with, to get consensus from everybody, great design, great ideas, put them together on paper, get everybody to agree to it, and they did that. And with the help of a Contra Costa County Wildlife Fund grant, they got the Creek Group bought plants to go in there. And it'd be nice to have somebody explain just how complicated this is. So there was so much that went into it in getting consensus, and the result of it is just absolutely fantastic, as we have a wonderful example to show other creek owners in different parts along the creek of what they can do to incorporate the creek as a part of their landscape. So if all of the people, Leslie Hunt, Heather, the landscape architect that came up with the design, if you'd come up here. You can go around the front.
And Maria from the Garden at Heather Farms.
Garden at Heather Farms. Maria? Could I just add, one of the reasons you have creeks to look at is because Peg Kovar early on was threatening to stand in front of the bulldozer so that the Corps of Engineers couldn't put the rest of San Ramon Creek and Walnut Creek into cement boxes. So that was another thing that she managed to accomplish. So we have a creek.
Marie, could you come up, please? We have Marie Velk from the gardens at Heather Farm. Like I said, this was a big collaborative project. On Community Service Day 2 years ago, the gardens put together a project, demonstration garden of what grows under oak trees very well to show the people what it looks like. And at Civic Park along the creek walk under the oaks, citizens got together on Community Service Day, planted everything. The gardens had it all laid out as to what goes where. And now the plants have matured and it looks absolutely wonderful, a great contribution to the creek walk. And I saw Marie earlier, but I don't see her now. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
I've known Bob Simmons for several years now, and I always suspected he had a dark underside. Our next award will be for retail centers, followed by the award for residential design. Making the presentation is Bill Wood.
Good afternoon, everyone. Here to present the Retail Center Award. Like that? Turn that over toward me. Can everyone hear me now? All right. It's been really difficult for our jury to pick all the awards this year because we had a lot of competition within each group because we had several items, several nominees that we had a difficult time choosing only because there was a lot of excellence this year. It seems like the City of Walnut Creek is really striving for excellence, and I know that even my own clients even sometimes complain why it takes so long, and I said sometimes you have to wait and see what comes out of it. And every transition or revision you make in plans to go through the process, when you look back on it, you actually end up with a better project. And I know that a lot of times people have a hard time looking back on their projects and being aware that all that hard work from staff and all the different bureaucratic agencies that you have to go through, if you look back at the beginning of the project and where you end up, it really is, so different than it was 25, 30 years ago, especially when Terry became the starter of this entire Action for Beauty Awards. And if you look back in the last 30 years, you'll see a huge difference in quality as well. And not only as we walk through the downtown, we see Brian Hara's touch everywhere. And it's amazing that as the years have gone by, I've done this almost 15 years, and I see it, the quality of Walnut Creek has become more humanized in terms of people just walking down the street. Even if you leave the downtown area and you start walking north now on Main Street, eventually that'll all become all cohesive. And I know that, in fact, one of the awards, or one of the nominees in the first category, which is Retail Center, is the old Kaiser Batch plant, as everyone remembers, right next to the lumber yard. That whole area had been that way for, well, as long as I can remember. And so the first award will be for the Retail Center, and the nominees are for 24-Hour Fitness and Chick-fil-A and the Gary Marketplace. I don't know if you're familiar with the Gary Marketplace, is where the old abandoned, there was a lot of buildings up on Gary and North Main that had sat for decades, it seemed like, and that entire area has now been kind of redeveloped, and we're trying to create some kind of a link between Gary and the downtown area, and it'll take time, but anyway, the nominees again are the 24-Hour Nautilus Fitness and the Chick-fil-A and the Gary Marketplace, and the award goes to the 24-Hour Fitness. So if the client or somebody here, that architect or the owner, there was a great use of a great use of, in a difficult area where the Kaiser batch plant was, they did a great job of putting together the materials, and more of an industrial type materials, but they're clean lines. The building, I hear, it was originally was going to be up toward the street, and they put it back in the project, on the property, to get a little bit more depth to the property. And it's just, it's a good looking building, and it'll hopefully stand the test of time, and just great design as well. So congratulations. You wanna say anything?
Thank you very much. It's nice to receive this award. I think if we have any secret sauce in our company that will hopefully contribute to people liking our projects is that we start with really ugly real estate. And this is definitely falls in that category. So thank you very much.
Sure, thank you. Thank you very much. Thanks again. Thanks again. Thank you very much. Discussing the process of going through the city from the beginning, and the gentleman that did the 24-hour Nautilus Fitness wanted to actually do another Kaiser batch plant, but we decided that we were going to forego that, and he said, oh, anyway, congratulations, it was a job well done. The second award this afternoon is going to be for residential, and there are only 2 items on for the nominees this year. There's been a lot of commercial this year, much more than residential, but you know, it's a mixed bag. Every year sometimes we'll have 50% residential, and this year it seems to be more weighted toward the commercial side. The 2 nominees for the residential are the Brick Street homes down by the Shuey Almond area. I don't know if you're familiar with it, by the, it's an area that's been changing over the last 25 years. Residential areas have sort of, after the state has allowed secondary units to come into play, certain areas in the downtown area have gone from commercial to what they call neighborhood commercial, which is the, if you go down, you know, the side streets, Bonanza and so forth, going over toward Mount Diablo Boulevard, you'll see a lot of the development has shifted from commercial to neighborhood commercial, which has got some little commercials to the duplexes or 2 units, to then the single-family residential. So it's a nice transition between the commercial areas and the residential areas. So the 2 nominees again are the Brook Street homes and the Almond Station residences that are on Almond and Oakland. If you don't know if you've seen those, they're near the freeway, that have done a great job as well. So anyway, the award goes to Brook Street homes. And this is a duplex that's on Brook Street that was done in a residential area that had extremely sensitive areas for the neighborhood. If you drive by the project, you'll end up seeing that it actually fits into the neighborhoods so well that it actually, the second unit is actually hidden in the back, so that the front of the house looks pretty much like the rest of the neighborhood and residential area, even though that secondary units now are coming into play, and where you have duplexes, you need to create, I call it a street frontage that carries the old neighborhood theme, and they did a really great, wonderful job. The actual person that was going to be recognized tonight this afternoon is Artie Ansori. He is the owner of the property, and he's actually at home in bed with the flu. So we all wanted to thank him for not coming, and but he's aware of his award, and we'll make sure he gets it. Thank you again.
I've known several mayors in the area who've thanked me for not coming. You know, you really should look at the certificate, the award certificates. They're very nicely done. There almost ought to be an award for the award. I noticed something about this. Several years ago, my newspaper pioneered the idea of giving certificates out instead of raises, and these are much nicer than anything we get. Presenting the awards for commercial renovation and landscape streetscape design is Joseph Gorney.
Good afternoon. Joseph Garney. I'm here to talk about the awards for commercial renovation. There's a lot of great new projects going in downtown. It was kind of hard to pick. We looked at Lottie's. We looked at, which is the reason why I barely fit my shirts anymore. Phoenix Spa, which is why I have no hair. Pier 1, which is a nice reuse, and I think it's a really successful use in that area that's had a little problems keeping busy over there, so that's good. And then fourth one was Anthropology. The award went to Anthropology, and the architect is out of Ohio. It's David Levy and Associates. I don't think they're here. They were actually going to try to come, but I don't think they were able to make it. I spoke with the project architect, Lynn Londeri, for a while, and we had an interesting talk on the phone. He really enjoyed working out here. He said that when he talked to the planners and knew what they were talking about, they would answer his phone calls, call him back. He worked with the building department. They really understand the codes, and they, fire department understood all the little pieces. And he said everyone's really, really helpful. And when I started laughing really hard, he finally realized that I was talking about Walnut Creek, and he was thinking he had it mixed up with another project. But in reality, he actually did enjoy it a lot. He says, in California it's kind of tough because we have tougher codes, we have tougher accessibility codes than the rest of the country. A lot of people just ignore it. He said that the energy requirements. If you look at that building, it's got a lot of glass in the front. They were very careful to computer model it and make sure that the overhangs are correct to be able to control the building. It's interesting because when we did the branding effort with the city of Walnut Creek, a lot of people mentioned getting an Anthropology downtown as like their goal. So it's really nice to see it come in, and particularly for me to see it on this side of downtown. I think it really helps to have a dynamic, modern building on that side of town. The building is dynamic, it's modern, which I love. It breaks from sort of the tradition of Walnut Creek and some of the buildings. If you look inside, the graphics, the color, they use all natural materials, and if you look at a lot of recycled wood and other materials in there. The light, both natural and artificial, I really encourage people, if you haven't, see the building at night, because I think the lighting is just gorgeous at night from the inside. They also do a thing like they use San Francisco hours, so they're open a little bit later than a lot of other stores are, which I think is really good. Again, they said the client was a lot of fun to work with. The building got an award within the Urban Outfitters group that owns the building, and they were really happy to get another one, and they really wanted to come out here and be a part of this. I think they said that the water closet floors is the only sort of standard corporate material that they have to use in all their buildings. So they have a lot of ability to design. There were a lot of challenges to the building. There were delays. There were structural issues in that building that were unforeseen. There were some toxins in the building because of some of the former uses. They had a bad slab that they had to tear out. My office is right across the street, and I remember just watching it go slowly, and for weeks and weeks nothing was happening. So it's really nice to see that it was done and it got finished. And again, eventually there's going to be a whole specific plan over there of other uses, but they approached the building that it was going to be there for a long time, and they did a really nice job, I believe. And again, they said they like Walnut Creek because they said we're kind of resistant to formula retail, that everything has to be unique, and they were really happy to work in Walnut Creek. They kind of compared us to Malibu, which I thought was great. And so I don't know if anybody's here from Urban Outfitters, but seeing none, we'll have to give them the award some other way. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I get to do the next one too, which is the Landscape Streetscape Design Award. And one of the couple of things we looked at this, there were some street medians that had been redone in town that we looked at. The Alma Park entrance, also known as the Center Place Property Exchange, officially, and some North Main Street landscaping. We looked at all those projects, and after some consideration, we decided to give it to the Alma Park entrance. And this is an important project. I mean, the city was a big participant in this project. It's kind of one of those projects that wind up being a win-win for everybody. It required, and even to be able to do it, it required a general plan amendment, and everybody was behind it, and I think there was a lot of positives with that. The key is, when they did this, there used to be this really, I don't know if you remember, but there was kind of a bizarre entrance to the park at Alma Park. And you couldn't see it from the street, and there was a big trellis in front of it that was kind of overgrown, and you couldn't really tell it was back there. And Hall Equities was doing their building there, and they needed to get some space along the side. So I think the city had stepped in with them, and they kind of put this whole deal together. So Hall Equities gained like 10 feet to the north of the building to be able to put glass and make for a better building. The city gained a much better link. It was sort of a 5-foot sidewalk that went around the corner, and now it's like a nice 14-foot area, and there was a bunch of visual impediments that are now gone. 1855 Olympic lost a couple of parking spaces, and I'm hoping they gained maybe a little bit of cash along with it. So the public got texture, the public got better landscaping, they got a nice coordinated design. The police loved it because then the security was better looking into the park, and the lighting is much better worked out. So if you get a chance to go over there, a lot of people use it because there is multifamily housing behind it. And, and also Hall Equities basically paid for all the improvements. So it was kind of a win-win for everybody at that point, and with no cost or little cost to the city. It had support from pros, it had support from DRC, a little bit of back and forth on whether the existing trees should go, and Planning Commission was behind it too. So I thought that was real positive. As a funny little note, I remember for a while, once they were thinking about putting the Hand of Peace there. I don't know if anybody knows about that. It's a big statue that Walnut Creek owns. And I remember when they put up the wood post, I was like, what the heck is that? And so unfortunately it didn't go there. I would have liked to see it there just because it's a real public area. And I know one of the little stories about that is the designer, Benny Buffano, the rumor is that he cut off his finger and he sent it to Woodrow Wilson to protest World War II. In reality, he happened to just cut it off accidentally, but he liked the rumor, so he stuck with the story. And it kind of made me think, because I'd really love to give a finger to the federal government right now myself. So, it's a great project. If anybody's here from the team, please come up and get the award. Also, anybody from the city, mayor, anybody who's working that project from the city, come up and share the limelight. Who was mayor at the time? Hey,
Joe, thank you.
Anybody from the city?
Send somebody from the city.
Come on, somebody from the city, come on up. Who is integral in this one?
Scott?
Mark? Scott? There we go. We like staff, no matter what we think.
I just like Scott.
All right. Cool. Good job.
Thanks, Joe. Thank you very much. I'll just say, just a brief comment. Yeah, it was a very collaborative effort, and we appreciate the recognition. It actually wasn't something we had to do. It wasn't a condition of approval of our deal. It was just the right thing to do for that location, and we felt long-term it was going to add value to the neighborhood, to the park, to the buildings in the back, to our property at 1855 Olympic next door as well. So, thank you.
Now, man, how often have you ever heard of anyone giving anyone the finger during an awards ceremony? Our next award is for auto sales and service for architectural design. And Scott Coates will be presenting those.
Thanks, Tom. Hi, everybody. The nominees in the category of auto sales and service are Cole European, Stead Cadillac, and Cook's Collision. And we had a really tough time with this one because we had three really good projects. The Cole European project transformed a really rundown old building into a pretty luxurious place that sort of fits their product, or that actually does fit their product really well. And Stead, same thing, dramatic improvement of an old facility, made a nice, sleek renovation, lots of glass, beautiful interior, quality materials. But in the end, the nod went to Cook's. We really like this one for a couple reasons. It's a really clean, simple, modern design, enlivened by the use of color and geometry. And the concept, the ideas that they had go all the way through. It starts at the sign, to the property walls, into the building interior. Even the furniture is just exactly right for the building. So this is a wonderful project. It made us smile, and we were thinking if you're ever gonna bang up your car, going there might make you feel a little better, maybe. So that's it. It was a really good project. We have somebody to come and accept the award.
Oh, of course, I banged up my car numerous times.
Thank you very much. Appreciate the kind words. We had a lot of fun with this project, and quite frankly, we really wanted it to show. We wanted it to be playful, and from time to time, we do smash up our cars, and I go to Cook's. So, but it was kind of an interesting building to start with. It was tired. It was a barrel vaulted wood truss structure that really had no character, and our goal, fortunately, you know, projects like this, they originate with a good client. So it really makes a difference to have someone, and we were hoping that Don Wood or Rick Wood could have been here today to receive the award, but I guess Don came in this morning from Texas, couldn't make it, but they were thrilled with the idea as it developed, and they got excited, and it was more than what they had ever thought they would do. So at the end of the project, Rick was a little bit frustrated, I think, with sometimes it costs a little bit more to do a little bit more. And, but the final word for us was, but I'm happy, the project appraised for more than what we paid, we're thrilled. So it made us happy as well. Thank you very much.
If I could jump in here, this project is amazing. They have a Zamboni in the service bay that goes around and keeps that floor spit shined at all times. It's amazing. I would be afraid to bring a car in there. It's so clean.
Not that Terry's ever been involved in any automotive problems. The next category is a category we invented, and that there weren't any nominations. But we have something so extraordinary that we had to invent an award for it. Every now and then, we see a project that all of the jurors think, I wish I'd done that. And this one is one of them. It's the table tennis facility at Rossmore, which is really fabulous. The pictures don't really do it justice. It is a super clean, ultra-modern design, really high-quality materials. You might say it's a windowless box, and it is. It has to be. You can't have windows to distract the players. But this is really perfectly detailed, really excellent materials, great sighting, fabulous building. We just love it. So is there someone here who can accept that award?
Well, on behalf of the 9,500 residents at Rossmore, let me thank the committee for the recognition. We now have the largest ping pong palace in Walnut Creek. So. But it was really Cava Massey Architects who designed the building, Huff Construction who put it together, and it really has turned out to be a gem. Five ping pong table spaces with some recreational areas. So thank you again for the recognition.
Okay, now it's time for the drum roll. We're arriving at the climax of our program. The People's Choice Award and the Chrysanthemum Award, presented by Marilyn Weiss.
Good afternoon. Let me say first that I'm thrilled to have been part of the Action for Beauty committee, and it was a real joy for me to be new and taken in and warmly as I was. You can imagine how I felt the day we went out to look at the awards, and it was me and the guys. It was a lot of fun. We walked everything, and we had a great time. The first award that I'm going to give today is the People's Choice Award. And this is the second year that the Action for Beauty Council has invited the community to vote for a new project with that best reflects the mission of Walnut Creek's Action for Beauty. I want to thank first, before I go on to the award, thank Pam Kessler and Walnut Creek Magazine for helping us to publicize and promote the concept that you could vote for your favorite project. And without her efforts, I don't know that we could have accomplished this, so thank you, Pam. The first award, which is the Chrysanthemum Award, is actually going to the People's Choice Award, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm really off, is going to the Community of Christ Church. And can I have the people come up here who are representing the church? So this is a collaborative effort often when you have a project where you have a community of people who have a vision for their own project, giving that over to the architects. This is, the architect actually is a father and son duo. So it is Daniel Bartlett and Richard Bartlett architects, were the architects, and we have also Richard Fazholz, who is one of the members of the community of the church who had a lot to say about what they wanted. And I think the most important thing about this church is that it is now a replaced building with a wooden beam structure. It's a craftsman style. It replaced a simple paneled structure, and it blends seamlessly into the residential neighborhood that it's in. And I think that's one of the most important things, is that you drive by, you look at it, you walk on it, and you're in the middle of this neighborhood of homes, and you feel very comfortable. The scale is very, it matches very nicely, and it fits very well. And I think that's a lot about being good neighbors with each other. The building that has this beautiful big wood beams, glass interior walls, and a front entry with a drought-tolerant garden and benches is something that you can enjoy. And I think that as I talked to the gentleman earlier, they want to grow, but they also want to stay warm and inviting. And I think that building just exactly that. So thank you so much, and we give you the award today for the Community of Christ Church. Thank you. Thank you. I was going to say, who's going to speak? All right. Come speak. Say something.
You know, this project was a really fun project to work on. We had a great time. Definitely credit due to the members of the Community of Christ Church who helped us out with this. So thank you guys very much. Thank you. Thank you. This is a big honor. Thanks.
And now for the 2013 Chrysanthemum Award, which is a very special award. It goes to a new project in Walnut Creek that just opened just after the beginning of the new year. And it goes to Lottie's Creamery on Main Street. And can I have Deb Phillips come up? So Lottie's Creamery is this really lovely building that really, I think, takes you back to what you would imagine as an old-fashioned ice cream store. And I think there are some very special things about this, in addition to the fact that you feel reminiscent and you think about something that maybe was something your grandparents enjoyed. And that is that it is a very interesting turn on it, because this is a conceived idea of artisanal ice cream. So Deb explained to me when I went in and looked at the store that she had not been in the food business, but her mother, Marion, and her grandmother, Lottie, who it's named for, had both been involved in both in a high school teaching position in teaching and in cooking. And so I think it was sort of a natural progression to do what Mom and Grandma did and make it even better. And so what Deb explained to me is that she had been for many years seeing what she called artisanal ice cream in Berkeley. And when she was ready to open the store, it was time to bring it through the tunnel to Walnut Creek. They have a lot of interesting, the flavors are different all the time. They're seasonal, they're fresh, they're as much as possible organic. Is that correct? And she's been written about a lot. The magazines have written about her, and the concept is come on in and have a great time. And when you come in and you see the many, many ice cream scoopers that are all from the different years that go past. And one of the things I loved was that Deb created the lighting fixtures, which are ceiling hanging fixtures that are milk bottles, and they've been electrified by a very special place. I think it was in Berkeley, is that right? In Berkeley, right. And so I think that the concept is that this is a family, fun kind of place to be, and who doesn't love ice cream? So why wouldn't it be a natural? The building is really lovely on the street, and it has created a warm environment. And if you've ever walked by and seen hundreds of people, it seems like sometimes, lining up for the great ice cream, we're going to honor both her concept and I think the building, which is quite lovely, that we can all enjoy. So Deb, you are so welcome. If you'd like to come
This is quite a treat. We went from 25 years of Thai restaurant grease to completely gutted, no foundation, to the studs, to what is my vision completed. So I'm really thrilled to have been honored. I make ice cream, and this is sort of the cherry on top of the sundae of being, able to do that in such a great community. So thank you very much.
We may be reading from a different script. I understand that Terry's supposed to come up right now and thank everybody for being here, but who am I to prompt him?
I was just looking for my notes to tell me I'm supposed to come up here and sign off. So, again, I want to thank all of you, obviously, for coming. And again, thank our sponsors for helping us put on this great event. Congratulations to all the award recipients. Debbie over there, she doesn't know, but once you win the Chrysanthemum Award, you have to join the Action for Beauty Council committee to put on this for next year. Good, you'll be there.
With ice cream.